It's Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and it is Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, which means it is time for a video. This is going to take 1 second. Let me get refreshed off to the left here to be sure that I'm actually doing something and not just yakking to my own self, because that's no fun. All right, looks like I see a picture. That's a good sign. Hey, Marva, I appreciate you joining. I hope you are having a good weekend after Thanksgiving and that you have recovered from the food comas of Thursday. Hey, Amy, appreciate you coming. All right, so if I've done my math correctly, this is the fourth Saturday before Christmas. 4 Saturdays will go by and then Christmas, and we'll be there. So I hope you are ready with your Christmas cards. If not, this one might be one that you would like to make. Hello, everybody. I appreciate y'all coming. Ooh, cold, snowy Iowa. Well, it is chilly here, but not snowy. It has been a beautiful couple of days, so we are fortunate in that regard. All right, so this card combines two of my favorite things. The book fold card, you can see it right there, and an easel card. So it's a portrait easel, and it features some black and gold paper from the Modern Christmas specialty paper, and then a little bit of Ornamental Christmas on the inside. I've just got the pretty sentiment. I just think that's the prettiest font ever. And I have paired the black and gold with pretty and pink. So it's one of my very favorite color combinations. Hey, Bonnie, I appreciate you coming. I'm sorry it took a minute to get here. And Julie, thank you for watching live. I appreciate that very much. So, very simple fun fold, and it will all be on my blog tomorrow. So hopefully I won't screw it up and make you think, oh my gosh, that's really hard, because it's just not. And if I screw it up, it's because I'm just a dork. It isn't because it's hard. It's still not hard. Okay, so let me put this aside. We're going to start with a basic black card base. It is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, so kind of basic. I mean, assuming I have done all the mathing correctly and done my cutting correctly. So we're going to start by scoring at 5 1/2 inches, so kind of like a normal. And then we'll go on down to 6 3/4. Right there is 6 3/4. And then if we were doing a book fold, we would stop there. But since we're doing an easel, we're going to split the difference between this score line and the end. And that is 2 1/8 inches, which puts us at 8 7/8. See, there is a reason to tell your children that they are going to need to do math when they grow up. It's so they can make cards and scrapbook pages. Duh, hello. All right, so we have the beginnings of our book fold easel, and we're just going to do a little scoring or folding. We've already scored. So now let's fold. And we're going to fold the 5 1/2 inch score line as a regular fold. And then the next one will go the opposite direction. Okay. And you can see the beginnings of the book fold there. And then because this is an easel, we'll fold the final score in the other direction like so. So now you can see how it's going to come together. Easy peasy. And that, my friends, is just exactly how hard it is to make a book fold easel card. Now we're just decorating. So let's go ahead and do a little adhering. Like any book fold, we're going to put some adhesive between the 5 1/2 and the 6 3/4 inch line. And you can use Stampin' Seal here. I'm a fan of liquid glue, as I am certain y'all know. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And then we're just going to adhere the front panel to the back panel. And there we have it. Minnesota, snowing all day. Yes, I've heard that the north part of the country is getting pounded. Okay, so you see it now? Easy peasy. Now, this is where my brain kind of had a little bit of a glitch today. So we're going to see if I've cut everything correctly. I've got some mats here in pretty and pink. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I just really love black and gold and pink. Oh, it looks like I did it. Yay! And I am going to cut a piece of the starry covered Modern Christmas Specialty DSP. And what I have done is I've taken a piece longer than I need this way, and it is 4 inches wide. So that is going to fit right there. So this is 4 1/8 by 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3 pieces from this, and I'm going to keep them in the order in which they come off of the paper. That will make more sense in just a second. So we have 3 matted pieces that we're going to need. This is going to be the book fold panel. And then each of these will be an easel panel. Okay? And what I'm going to try to do is keep this design coherent throughout the entire, all 3 pieces. Okay? So here we have, this is the hardest part of the whole card. If there's any hard part, it's this part. The first piece we're going to cut is for the book fold, and that is going to be 1 inches. Since let me do the old measure twice, cut once thing. Okay, so that's 1 1/8. Okay, 1 inch was correct. Yay, Mary! She remembered. So we're going to go 1 inch. And then you can just keep the pieces in the order in which they come off. And it might even help you if you put them right on their little mat, right as you take them off, just so that you can keep them together. The next one is going to be 1 7/8 inches. And put it down right in the same order. And finally, hey, Bonnie. All right, let's see. And then the final one is another 1 7/8 inches. Just making sure it's kind of straight. And we'll put that down. And let's see, why don't I go ahead, because I'm going to need this little piece, 1/2 inch wide for my easel stop. So I'll just go ahead and cut that right now. And then it'll be all ready to go when it's time to make that. Okay, so now we can set this aside. And we'll just go ahead and adhere these pieces with liquid glue. Shall we? Shall we? Shall we? 6 inches of snow. Nancy, my goodness. I hope you're ready with the snow plowing. I will say I don't miss snow. It's very pretty for like 5 minutes, and then it's time to put covers on and go outside and feed the pony or some such nonsense as that, and it just stops being that fun. Okay, so we've got that first piece. Again, I'm kind of keeping them in order because it is amazing. You can put these together. You can do cut, 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 place them all in order, and then still get them borked up. So, you know, just take your time and think things through before you do anything, you know, real permanent, like adhere stuff together. Make sure you're getting the design correct. You can see it's coming together. It's coming together here. I know. I am no longer a fan of being cold. But what's the most annoying is to go outside in the cold requires getting the covers on, 3 layers of jackets, and then you tromp through, and then while you're working, you might get a little too hot, so you got to start thinking about getting rid of some layers, and where do you know, it's just a whole thing. These are farm world problems. Okay, and you know, for you farmers out there, I am so grateful that you go out and do the things you do so that we can eat food without having to do that ourselves. Okay, so again, just keeping the panels in place, I'm going to adhere them to my card front. Easy peasy. Now, the idea for this card, the color palette sort of, and what we're going to do with the DSP came from a card I saw that Brian King did. And I loved it because it used a punch and a couple of circle dies, and it was real easy, and it let this gorgeous paper do all of the work for him. And I modified it by adding the pink, because I like pink for Christmas. I think pink and black and gold is just the bestest. Okay, one more, and I am going to have knocked it. I'm going to knock it out of the park, and I'm going to get my DSP is going to be in its rightful order. Yay! So see, wouldn't this be kind of cool to do with one of our scenic papers? I think that would be kind of fun. Okay, so there's our card base. Whoa, like that. And while I have it out and I've got my DSP, why don't I mat my easel stop? Remember that little 1/2 inch piece that let me be sure it's the right size before I do something silly. Yeah, that's right. And I am not particularly interested in what way it goes on, but you know, if it happened to be a continuation of the pattern, that would be a happy coincidence, wouldn't it? Okay. The thing that's nice about this kind of a card is it's a really nice display card because it sits right up and it'll sit on your on your recipient's mantle or their table. Yeah, see, that's going to work out. If I put it on the easel right, it'll be great. Okay, so now let me show you the secret trick. If you have the 2 3/8 inch circle punch, if you don't, you should get it. You can cut out one of these pretty little guys. We're going to have to cut this down just a little bit so I can get to it. Hang on. Be hanging on just a second. I'm just going to cut the top off here just a little bit so I can reach it with my punch. Oops, don't do that. Do not do, I almost cut it right off and I was going to have to dig out a whole nother, you know what, maybe that one will work. Let's do that one instead. They don't always have to be the same. There we go. Okay, so look, it perfectly frames that pretty tree image like that. And you can get a couple more and you could do one with just 2 trees in it or however made you happy. And then, if you've got stylish shapes, which of course if you don't, you should, you're going to use these 2 largest circle dies to cut a pretty in pink mat and somewhere a black mat with the next largest, okay? So these 2 will nest together nicely with a nice, pretty frame, and we'll be ready to go. Now, before we get going on that, I am going to do one more little thingy thing because I want to stamp my sentiment and give it time to dry really good before I'm cutting it. I'm going to use this sentiment right here from Modern Christmas. It says, "Wishing you peace and joy." And then I'm going to ink it up in Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Now look, here's what you're gonna do, okay? You can see the top of the stamp, right? This piece right here. Now I know because I'm gonna stamp it. Let me stamp it for you and show you what we're talking about. I've got the words lined up on the top of that line right there. You see how it's down? It goes down just a little bit. So we're gonna fix that by cocking it a little bit. So line the top of your stamp up with the top of your piece of cardstock. Don't do that. Don't touch it while you're lining it up. And then I'm just going to think about dropping that W down just a little bit. Let me see if I got it. Yep, I did. Now, I'm going to let that dry, and then when I cut it, I should be able to cut right about 3/8 of an inch, and it'll be just about perfect. Okay? That's how I did that. That's how I did that, like that. But Tuxedo Black takes a hot second to dry, so we will take the opportunity to adhere and put our mat together. So I'm just going to, you can see this was a recycled piece. I'm going to mat this like so. And you know what I did? I did the thing that I did before when I made my, shoot, let me see if I can get this back off. Dang it, Jim. Let me see if I can get it off. Because what I wanted to do, I did this exact same thing when I made the first one. And I said to myself as I was putting it together, you know what, I'm just going to not do it. I'm just going to not, I am going to do it, by golly. By gosh, I am going to do it. I am going to get this off of here. Let's see if I can get my heat tool in on the action a little bit. Try to heat some of that glue up. What I wanted to do, and I didn't do, is I wanted to put this piece on with Stampin' Dimensionals after I gave it a nice bow. And I very calmly did that wrong. So, one of my teaching techniques is to show you what not to do so that you won't do it. But if you do it, I'm going to show you how to fix it best as I can, okay? So I'm just warming that glue up a little bit to see if that'll help. And then I'm going to kind of slide my pick under. And what I'm really working on is trying not to crease my mat, because I don't want to have to use a different piece. I want to reuse this. Because, remember how I worked so hard to cut it? Okay. So what I would recommend that you do is when you make this card, just do it right the first time. You'll be so much happier. But if you don't, try heating that glue up just a little bit with your paper, with your heat tool on low, and you should be able to kind of get it up. Is it going to be beautiful when I pick it up? No, but it's also going to be probably fine. Probably fine. Okay. So that's all good. We're not going to worry about that. Don't be fretting about that, because you won't even know it's happened once I get this all done. Gosh, I'm such a Dorcas. Okay. So now that we have this, I am going to use a couple of glue dots. See, how many demonstrators do you know are going to screw up like that and fix it? None. Okay, maybe a lot. I don't know. Okay, so I'm putting one glue dot on that end. And the truth of the matter is, y'all, if you make cards, you're going to screw up every once in a while. That's just a thing. It's going to happen. So better to know how to fix it. So I'm just going to wrap this around a couple of times, like so, and give that a little pushy push right there, and get my ribbon scissors and cut that like so. See, it just looks, it's going to be so much better, but I want to be sure I'm going to put this back on the right direction. No, it's going to be this way. Okay. So what I did is I took a couple of lengths of this twine then, and I have discovered that I do better if I wrap a knot around this. Like so. Oops. And just do one overhand knot to start with. Kind of right in the center. And then I have found, I'm going to put it on like so. So I want my bow to be oriented down. If I turn it upside down, it helps me make a better bow. If you're better at bow making than I am, you can do it however you want. But I turn it upside down. Like this. Okay. And then we can kind of straighten it up and make it party. Make it party like this. Get this guy out. One of these is tail. Okay, there we go. And then we can just kind of mess with it a little bit until we get it where we want it and looking the way we want it. It's gonna be persnickety, persnickety. Oh, so persnickety. We were going to go up this weekend to the apple orchard up in Ellijay, and we didn't go, and so maybe we'll go tomorrow. When we were there for the retreat, we bought some truly amazing apples, and I would like a few more of them. And I haven't been able to find them anywhere, and they are so yummy that I really do want some more of them. Okay, so now that we have our bow and our wrap the way I should have done it to begin with, I'm going to use quite a significant number of dimensionals, actually. But remember, they're all half, so it's not nearly as horrible as that seems. And then we'll take these off. We bought two. One was called Crimson Crisp, and one was called Evercrisp. And I think the ones I liked the best, I mean, I liked them both and I want to get some more of both. But I think it was the Evercrisp that was the sweetest one. But boy, they both just had the best apple flavor. It was crazy. And it's so disappointing when you see, when you see an apple in the store and it's all red and pretty and it's got a cool name. Like I bought some called Sugar Bees. Now, really, those should be just as sweet as they could be, right? And they're not. They barely had any flavor at all. It was so disappointing. I can't even begin to tell you. All right, so that's better. I'm much happier having that bow there. I can't believe I forgot that. But if you do, and you want the bow, which you probably should, then you're going to want to know how to fix it. So now you do. And then what I think is a helpful thing to do, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but I think it's helpful, is to put a glue dot under that little knot, because then it'll stay where you want it to stay. Because it's just like loose on there, you know what I mean? Jelly bean? It's loose on there. So I've just put a glue dot underneath it so that it will stay in the center. Okay, so now let's go back to our regularly scheduled programming. And I'm going to adhere this DSP circle to the matted mats, the double mat, with some more dimensionals. All righty. Lasagna for... Yeah, I don't like mushy apples either. In fact, I've been known, Katie is the recipient of any apples that 2 bites in I realize are mushy. She's like, I like it when we have mushy apples because I am not that picky like my mama is. And so I get them when she doesn't like them. But yeah, these were not. They were so crisp and so juicy. Oh my goodness, they were wonderful. Okay, now we're going to adhere this to the front panel of the easel. So this is the true easel. And we don't want any glue on this top portion because we don't want it to stick to the middle panel. So what I do is I just kind of put a little bit of liquid glue right in here. It's going to squish around however you need it to squish. So you don't want too much, but it'll go where you need it to go. And then just kind of put it where you want it. Make your little trees straight. And adhere it down with a little pushy push. And then give that glue a second to dry. Okay. In the meantime, let's go ahead and cut our... yes, I've had Cosmic. I can get Cosmics as well. My real favorite of the not overly sweet ones are Envies. I really like Envy apples. They are pretty consistently tasty. All right. But these guys up there, the only downside to buying them there is they just came in we bought a bushel of each one. And it never occurred to me, or Amy, I don't think, to look and like make note of which one was which. So we picked up a bushel of the Evercrisp and a bushel of the Crimson Crisp, but there was nowhere on the bag that said what apple flavor they were. And we should have known because they had bags of sweet potatoes, but the bags said apples. So they weren't overly concerned about the species of what was in the bags. But it didn't matter. I ate them all with equal happiness. Jonathan apple. Are those like the red ones? Are they reds? I hate to say it. Please don't stop being my friend, but they're not my favorite. Okay, so when you make this, just cut a little bitty bit off of one end. You're eyeballing it, people. And then just snip a little banner. And then snip an equal spaced one right up over on this side and snip a little banner. If your recipient takes a micrometer and checks to see if you have an equal amount of cardstock on either side of your sentiment, nope, they don't ever get another handmade card. That would be my story. That would be my theory. Okay, so now we're just going to put these on some dimensionals and adhere it to the easel. Okay. Now you could use black dimensionals if you had them out. I didn't, so I'm not. Black would be very, very cohesive, but I did not do that. Okay. So now we're just going to kind of center this up between the bottom of the mat, the matted circle. Make sure it's about equal distant left and right. And see, this is why you want to be sure your sentiment is good and dry, because you're going to be rubbing on it. Okay, so there's our card front. Let's go ahead and get the inside done. I have a 4" by 4" piece of basic white cardstock. And in the top portion, that's a very technical, very exact, very, you got to measure it, not. In the top portion, we're going to stamp Merry Christmas. And this Merry Christmas is pretty forgiving as far as straightness. It's very pretty. It's a beautiful font. It's like my favorite font ever. But it's a little bit kind of wonky on purpose. And I'm going to, while that is drying, we're going to be stamping in Pretty in Pink. So I'm going to do my envelope first, giving that black a minute to dry. And I'm just going to do one stamp. Now there is another tree in this set. You'd never know it because I tend to not use it because I love this one. This is my favorite tree ever. And it's my card, and so I'm going to make it in the tree that I want. But if you like the other one better, you could certainly use it as well. And I've mentioned that when I'm trying to make something straight, I have better luck usually if I'm going this way. Because what I do is I just line that trunk up on the edge and kind of go like that. Okay. Now, remember that easel stop? We're going to use that on here. First, I'm going to mat this on Pretty in Pink. And then we'll put it inside the card base. Who doesn't love black and pink? I mean, really. It's classic. It's just a classic. Okay. And we'll put this on the inside. Do 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 do. Y'all, we've got just a couple more days of the double peppermint ordering special and the Black Friday sale, so you're going to want to get busy with that. There we go on the inside. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on our easel. Easel stops, almost by definition, need to have dimensionals on them. Thank you, Marva. I appreciate that. And I tend to be generous with them because it's holding your card in place. And let's see. Let me see if I can find. There we go. I'm going to put it on like that. And then we're going to act like I was so design oriented. Yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this off. Like so. And then we're going to just place this. I'm going to line up this edge right there. And then kind of try to get it straight. See if that looks like I want it to look. And it do. And it looks straight. So I'll give it a little pushy push. And there's our easel card. Now we'll put a little more of the Starry DSP on our envelope flap. And this card will be done. And I'm still inside my 30 minutes, even having to fix a boo-boo. Boo-boos happen, people. Just fix it and drive on. It's paper and ink and glue. Make it do what you want it to do. All right. So we've only got like 3 more Saturdays after this to get 3 more Christmas cards in. So hopefully I'll sort of start making them a little simpler so that if you need last minute cards, that'll be easy. Maybe a treat delivery system would be a good one to have coming up, but we will see what we see. So there you are, y'all. I hope you like this card and that you will make a book fold easel card. Thank y'all for spending the time with me and watching me, you know, make a mistake and fix it. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you on Thursday. Don't know what we're going to make, but I hope it'll be something you like. Ta. Bye.